Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited video, 2025, and we are well into card reveal season for set 4, Jump to Lightspeed. I am super excited about this set. Thank you to those of you who stuck around. I know it's been a little bit of a rough period with uploads recently. Life has been very busy, so you know, I'll talk more about that later, but let's just go ahead and jump into this because we've got a lot of cards to talk about. I'm kind of catching up today on the card reveals that we've had basically over the sort of holiday period, and then I will see how often I do these. I could do them weekly. I guess we'll just sort of see how the views are on this and if people care to hear my thoughts and opinions on these leaders. So obviously, like usual, I'm going to sort of talk about these cards in isolation, but with the caveat that, well, we don't really have the full support, so we don't know how good this stuff is going to be, and we are talking about cards out of context where certain tools could send the viability of these leaders through the roof. So and of course I'll hold my hand up and say I've had bad takes before. See the set 3 review, Jango Fett in particular. I mean, in my defense, Boba Fett was around, but we could have given Jango a little more credit, right? Okay, so Asajj Ventress, this is a blue-black leader. So this is the ability is action, tap, deal 1 damage to a friendly unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. How good is this? It's free. So I don't think we should sleep on the fact that it's free, and you can probably snipe away like little things that you're quite close to killing. Obviously the grit synergy is very clear here, right? Like this is turning on your grit. It's making like your units bigger, whilst also like dealing damage to your opponent's units, letting you trade up. So I think there's definitely something to be said for that. How good is this going to be? I think we're just going to have to see the prevalence of good grit cards. On deploy, you can either bring her out as a 4/6 on 6 with grit. That's pretty terrible. Or you can upgrade +3/+4, so it's basically Darksaber. The attached unit is a leader. It gains grit, and on attack you may deal 1 damage to a friendly unit. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit in the same arena. So this seems okay. I mean, fundamentally, like making anything go +3/+4 is quite strong. But remember that this is something that's probably going to be quite heavily, like, side decked for. You pick up your confiscates now, folks, right? Like, pick up your 10 cents common now. I don't think this is that good. I feel like I would just rather be on Kira if I wanted to play this style of deck, because I can get a shield in exchange. And yes, it costs a resource, but I don't know. That's my inclination, though. This could be good. I mean, obviously, like, giving anything grit can, like, be a game ender, but feels more gimmicky. Next, we've got Lando Calrissian. So this is our first blue-white leader. So he comes out on 7. His action is pay 1, tap, play a unit from your hand by paying its cost. If you do, and you control a ground unit and a space unit, give a shield token to a unit. So this is kind of just a strictly worse version of Luke Skywalker's ability, in the same colors. He comes out later as a 5/7, so slightly better stats. He has Sentinel. 7, it's pretty late. Or he does go +5/+5 on a ship. Now that's very big. That is very big. He gives Sentinel, and when deploys an upgrade, you get to give a shield to a unit in a different arena. So I think, like, if this guy is going to be viable, it is only going to be as a weapon upgrade. I just think, like, he's doing so little through the rest of the game, and I don't think he's going to be viable. I think this is another Lando leader that's just going to be really disappointing. +5/+5 is scary. It is really scary, but my inclination is this is just quite bad. Next, we've got Admiral Piet. Now, this is a leader. Action, tap. Play a capital ship unit from your hand. It costs 1 less. So let's start there. We are cheating costs. Immediately, I'm going to be looking at this, like, very seriously, okay? On the back, he deploys on 5. He's got garbage stats, and each capital ship you play costs 2 less. Now, worth saying, the fact that he comes out with 7 HP and he's kind of not very threatening is good, because your opponent's kind of going to be less incentivized to actually just deal with this card, so you can just sit there with this huge passive buff. But I think this card needs to be understood in the context, like, we need to have this card in mind when we talk about a couple of the cards that we're going to get to. But the main things I'd point out are Ruthless Raider is a capital ship. So if you go Piet Red, which is one of 2 ways I think this is going to go, then Ruthless Raider comes down on 5. That's obviously very good. Now, the other way you can go is you can go into the TDR version. And we know that green, yellow, black is a very standard, like, Color combo, tried and tested. Like, we know this space-focused color combo works. So I think both of those sort of avenues of Piet are going to be something I'm interested in. I'm going to be very, very focused on testing those pretty early. So yeah, I'm very, very high on this leader. This is the one leader I'm 100% sure is going to be playable. Next, we've got Wedge Antilles. So this is green-white. Action, tap player card from your hand using piloting. It costs 1 less. So, hey, again, cheating costs. It is cheating piloting costs, which is a little iffy. But, again, cheating costs, we got to take it seriously. He deploys on 5. Unfortunately, he's a 3/6, so not great stats. 3/6 is very, very easy to deal with, especially in set 3, so like set 4 is probably even easier. But he comes in as a +3/+4 upgrade on 5. Okay, that's not bad. The attached leader is a leader unit, and again, on attack, the next pilot card you play this phase costs 1 less. So, interesting card for sure. I'm not going to write him off immediately, because fundamentally, when you are doing something that cheats costs, and in particular, like on the front side, you are just cheating costs, right? So, this could be extremely relevant. So I'm not going to call this bad yet. This is one I'm very much in the sort of like, okay, let's wait and see how the support shakes out. But very iffy at the moment, like going to be entirely dependent on how good piloting is in this set. Okay, next we got Boba Fett, who we talked about, and then I think we got Han. Oh, sorry, we got Akbar. So here's our yellow-white leader. Okay, so action, pay 1, exhaust a non-leader unit. If you do, its controller creates an X-Wing token. So you can make 2/2s in space, either for your opponent by tapping down their stuff and stopping it from attacking, or for yourself by not using your units to attack. You just can make tokens. Now, I don't think that's actually that bad, but it's not good. Now, he deploys on 6 as a 3/8, so stats are okay, with an on attack to exhaust any unit, and if you do, its controller creates an X-Wing token. I think like there is something to be said for being able to always have a tap online, but it's you know, you're giving them a 2/2. Like, you're going to have to be really, really careful when you use this because you're actively giving your opponent advantage. Like, making a 2/2 is crazy. Like, you imagine being an opponent and being like, oh, you're just giving me a 2/2? Cool, thanks. I'm very iffy on this. I think it's probably bad. Maybe it won't be, but it's probably bad. It's very, very likely bad. And then we've seen Han Solo already. Okay, on to the actual cards. So, firstly, we've got Banshee, who's 5 blue, black, 4/5, space. On attack, you may deal damage to a unit equal to the amount of damage on this unit. So, I think this is probably bad. However, one thing I would flag is that, well, okay, I think it's bad because after this set, there's going to be many, many more ways to deal with space, I suspect. Right now, this is probably quite scary. In particular, I would say this is probably quite scary because it's a Separatist, and so in Dooku, you can play it on 3. Now, this card on turn 2 is very, very scary. So I would bear it in mind for that reason. I think in that deck, it's actually terrifying. You have a 4/5 who's just going to sit there and just start sniping stuff. This crosses arenas. So I think, like, my inclination is by the time we finish the set, this is probably going to be quite bad. But, like, right now, this seems actually quite strong. Not at full cost, though. Next, we've got Fleet Interdictor. This is a 7-drop blue-black, 6/6 Sentinel. When defeated, you may defeat a space unit that costs 3 or less. This is probably not great, even if you play this on 6 through Piet. Now, if you play this on 5, this is good, right? Obviously, a 5 cost 6/6 Sentinel that has a when defeated to kill something back is very, very strong, but there'll be better options, I suspect. Okay, Cassian is a 3-drop yellow, blue-white, 3/4, so not great stats. Not bad, but not good. Piloting for 2, +1/+3. The attached unit gains on attack, discard a card from the defending player's deck. If that card costs 3 or less, draw a card. So the fact this can potentially just draw you cards is obviously quite nice. 2-cost upgrade, +1/+3 seems pretty par for the course. I mean, you have to value the versatility here of just being able to play it as a unit when you need it, and also be able to play it as an upgrade. And I think that's probably been factored into sort of the stat line. If this was a 3/5, I'd probably go, yeah, this is probably just going to see play to 3/5, right? It's probably good enough to see play, depending on, like, the format. Like, I would say probably, like, most decks you're looking at about 40 to 50% of, like, this hitting, right? So if it just says, like, +1/+3 and just draw a card half the time, like, also aids the mill strat, so I don't think it's terrible. I'll be interested to see how much play this ends up seeing. It is Rebel traded as well, for what it's worth. Gold Leader, this is a 6 blue-white, 5/5, shielded spaceship. When this unit is defending, the attack gains -1/-0. This is pretty bad. Next, we've got Academy Graduates. This is a 2-cost ground unit, 1/2 Sentinel. With piloting, 2 and a blue, the attached unit gains Sentinel and +1/+2. I really like this because it's just a cheap sentinel, and sometimes you just need those. And it's a cheap sentinel that you can just like also attach onto another spaceship and make that spaceship 2 HP bulkier. I think what we're going to be seeing is just like bounce becoming so much stronger in the set, though, right? Like outside of leaders that can't be bounced by waylay and things, like the ability to just go get them out is going to be really, really strong. So I like this card. It's cute. It's probably bad, but I do like it. Next, we've got the Invisible Hand. Okay, here's a card I think is probably good. So this is, actually, no, this is definitely good. Right, so there's a 6-drop green-black, 6/6. So firstly, you can ECL it in. Next, Separatist Vehicle Capital Ship. So you can play this on, so you can Dooku this out on turn 3. When played, or when this unit completes an attack and survives, you may search the top 8 cards of your deck for a droid, reveal it, and draw it. If it costs 2 or less, you may play it for free. If you're playing anything for free, right, like, we have to take that really seriously. That's just the kind of thing that can get out of hand in card games. So I think it's probably worth, like, just, let's have a little look, right, in the, at what the available droids are that cost 2 or less. They're not fantastic, right? Like, okay, this 1-2B surgical droid, Viper probe droid, R2, C-3PO, L3, it's black, so probably not happening. Although, like, these are things you could put in. But if we look into sort of the realistic options here, right? Like, okay, what, an Obedient Vanguard, an series officer, Vanguard droid bomber, Separatist commando, B1 security team. That's kind of it. So none of these are, like, very, very good. And, like, I don't know that you're necessarily even playing them in this kind of deck. Like B1 security team you might play. So I think that's just going to be the big thing, right? Like, we need actual reasonable options to play, and that's where this is suffering. But like in vacuum, this is an incredibly strong effect. Like, it's great stats. Like, in space, it's a capital ship, so Piet plays it on 5. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just think there's potential there. All right, next up we have got Niennum. So this is a 1-drop green-white 1/2. It gains +1/+0 for each other friendly pilot unit and upgrade. So this can become quite big. Now it says pilot unit, so that's just having the trait pilot. So that could be something that could get out of control. Piloting for 1. The attached unit gains +1/+0 or for each friendly pilot unit upgrade. Now I think this as a pilot is pretty scary, right? Like, you gain the +1/+2 on the ship, and then that ship is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Again, we just are going to have to see, like, how easy it is to have multiple of these piloted ships up. It's a lot to invest. This is cheap. For example, Wedge is just going to play this for free. That's pretty good, right? Like, if you're just upgrading this for free, you're happy, right? So I think Wedge will play this. Will he play outside of that? Remains to be seen. All right, next we've got Blue Leader. Oh, this card is insane, right? 3-drop. This card is actually broken. 3-drop green-white 3/3. Rebel Vehicle Fighter. Ambush. When played, you may pay 2. If you do, move this unit to the ground arena and give it 2 experience tokens, and it's treated as a ground unit. This card's absolutely busted, right? Because what you can do is you can choose the order of those abilities, so you can ambush in space and then move it to ground as a 5/5, or you can move it to ground, make it a 5/5, and then ambush. So you get that incredible versatility. The only thing you can't do is ambush as a 5/5 in space, right? This is a 3-drop, so it's like, I mean, just, you know, great. Like, this is hitting a lot. This is hitting like every turn 1 ship, pretty much. You're instantly deleting it. You're leaving this like big threat here. This card is stable. This card is absolutely stable. Really, really, really strong. Next, we've got Red Leader. This is a 4-drop green-white 3/4. This unit costs 1 less to play for each friendly pilot unit and upgrade. When a pilot upgrade attaches to this unit, you create an X-Wing token. So if you're playing this for 3, this is fine, right? Like, this is just basically vanilla. If you're playing this for 2, this is very good. And obviously, anything less than that is just, yeah, crazy. So we'll need to see how easy it is to play this out for cheap. And again, like, obviously if you pilot this up and then you just make an X-Wing token, that's really nice value. So I think, again, in a deck that's like designed around the pilot, so something like a Wedge, this is probably going to be quite strong. We'll need to see how good those kind of decks are. Talked about Chewbacca, card's broken. We've talked about this card. Okay, General Draven. This is a 5-drop 2/5. When played non-attack, create an X-Wing token. Obviously, like, if you ECL this in, like, it is 6/9 of stats for 5, which is good, but like, do you really want to ECL in a 2/5? Probably not. Yeah, I suspect this is not great. Next, we've got Resupply Carriers. This is an interesting one. This is a 6-drop 4/5 spaceship. It is a capital ship. When played, you resource. So I think the decks that are going to be really interested in this are Piet decks and green TDR decks. Because you're going to see this and you're going to go, oh, cool, I can just grab it. Like, so Piet, like, this is a really interesting card in Piet because you can, like, if you TDR this out, like, and then you get to ramp up and then you just get to, like, play all your, like, much bigger stuff, like your big capital ships much earlier. If you flip Piet, this is a 4 cost, right? So it's a 4 cost that ramps. I believe it comes in rested, sadly. It doesn't come in active, but still, like, I don't know. I think in those decks, and it's a 4/5, right? It's reasonable stats. So, yeah, just more ramp to this, like, villainy green. Like, this is like the 9th ramp card you could play, right? You could play ramp 7, 8, and 9. So, I don't know. I think this is pretty decent. In that deck particular, I don't know you'll play it outside of that. Tandem Assault, attack with a space unit. If you do, attack with a ground unit, and that ground unit gains +2/+0 for this attack. This might be good. It's kind of Rebel Assault-y, right? But, like, a little more restrictive. So we'll need to see how good this ends up being. Next, we've got Allegiant General Prize. This is a 2-drop red-black, 2/3, first order and official. When indirect damage is dealt to a unit, you may defeat a non-unique upgrade on it. That's pretty good. On attack, if you have the initiative, deal 2 indirect damage to a player. This is a 2-drop 4/3. Cool. Obviously, the thing with the indirect damage is it's going on something, right? It's not fizzling, which means that a card like this, I think, is going to be really quite strong. Now, will it see play? I don't know. That, you know, it's going to be a matter of the traits and all that sort of stuff. But, like, yeah, like, if you're able to have initiative, like, this is really strong. If you don't have initiative, it's less good. And we need to see, I mean, just defeating non-unique upgrades is potentially really strong too, right? So we need to see how good this card is. But I think it's something I'm going to bear in mind for sure. Okay, now we're cooking. Right, Devastator, legendary. So this is an 8-drop red-black 9/6 Imperial Vehicle Capital Ship. You assign all indirect damage you deal to opponents. When played, deal 4 indirect damage to each opponent. So firstly, huge ship. Like, the fact that you get to choose is insane. Like, this is, so your immediate thought should go to Django. Django can now TDR out this fucking thing. Django now has extra reach because you can just slam it down and go 4 to face. Like, this is nuts. Piet, now, I want you to think of Piet red. So if you flip Piet, this is now their turn, their 6 resource play. This just comes down, and then you go, obviously Boba Red has access to this sort of Django thing. This card is crazy. Like, it's just a 9/6. They have to answer it, because every time you do it, like, otherwise you're just going, yeah, 6 indirect damage to face, 6 indirect damage to face. Like, you're just going to, like, assign everything you can. This is just super, super, super strong. Super, super, super strong. I suspect this will be one of the chase legendaries from the set. Okay, then we got no disintegrations. We already saw this one. Red Squadron Wiring, another banger of a card, I think. This is a 2-drop red-white, 1/3. On attack, deal 3 indirect damage to the defending player. This is a 2-drop 4/3 in space. Why? For what purpose? Like, whose idea was this? Like, we saw Y-Wing, and then we're like, nah, that's crap. Let's make it really good. Like, this is nuts strong. This is really, really good. And obviously, decks like Ray are going to love this, because they can just, like, make it a 2/4 and a 3/5. You're just going to sit there doing insane damage. And then, like, oh, it's a rebel for some reason. So if you want to buff it up with Wing Leader and just make it, like, the most threatening card in the game, like, by all means. Just a, yeah, crazy strong card. This is insane. Like, this is really, really good. Next up, we've got Hunting Aggressor. We already spoke about. Okay, the next card, another legendary, and this is another ridiculous one. Deal 8 indirect damage to a player. If you control a capital ship, deal 12 indirect damage instead. This card is fucking stupid. There's no other way to say it. I don't know what universe you're in if you don't think, like, OB for 8 is not good, right? Like, yeah, they get to choose where the damage goes. Guys, the decks that are going to play this are just trying to kill the opponent, right? Like, so there's 2 options, right? They either like spread the damage out across their board and lose things, right? Because the odds of them having, like, so much HP that they can just soak 8 damage into it and then it does nothing is, like, quite low. You're probably losing that game in that situation. They take a bunch to face to preserve their board, in which case, great. They just took 3, 4, or 5 damage to face. That is, like, 20% of their health. You've just gone, boom, take it. Or some mixture of the two that is just unoptimal for them. And God forbid, if you deal 12 with this, like, and then think about the situation where your opponent just doesn't have a board, right? Like, they can't, like, or they have like one thing with like 2 HP, and you just go, yeah, cool, planetary bombardment for 12, take 10, GG. This is just going to end games. Like, and there'll be games where you just go like, okay, cool, oh, I drew double planetary bombardment, fine, yeah, planetary bombardment, they have to just clear their board so they don't die, and then you go, yeah, cool, claim, planetary bombardment, GG. Those games are going to happen, right? Like, those games are just going to happen. This card is crazy. If you don't think this card is good, you're cooked. I don't know what to tell you. This card is nuts. Okay, on to some yellow stuff. So we'd already seen some of this, although well, I don't remember this card. Sorry. Ziggy Star Hopper, when defeated, deal 2 indirect damage. Oh, no, 2/3 that deals 2 indirect damage to a player. Interesting. the Django the Django stonks increase. Interesting. Okay, we got Anakin. Oh, my goat. I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. So this is a 2-drop yellow-white 2/3 with piloting +2/+3. That's not bad. Now this is force traded, which I feel is quite relevant. And when this attached unit completes an attack and survives, you can just bounce the upgrade back to the owner's hand. So you can buff it for an attack, swing, and then just get it back if you think your opponent's going to do some dodgy business to that unit. I think this is quite decent. It's force traded, I think, is the main thing, right? Like, that's going to be quite good on a 2-drop. It's another 2-drop force traded unit. Blade Squadron Wiring, I believe this. Oh, we haven't seen this. It's just bad. This is bad. We're not even. This is bad. Home one. Okay, it's legendary. This is a 9-drop yellow-white 7/8. It's big. If an opponent controls 3 or more space units, it costs 3 less to play, and it has ambush. So if you play this for 6, it feels worth it. But like, consider the situation where you're playing this for 6. Like, are you not already in a little bit of trouble? And this is probably your whole turn at that stage, right? Like, that's it. That's the only card you're playing. I think this is probably quite bad. And we've seen this. Oh, it's a trap. If an opponent controls more space units than you, ready each space unit you control. So this could be a really cool, like, random kill card. Because you can imagine a situation where you've got like 2 reasonably big space units. They don't have Sentinel. You go boom, boom. You put them up to like 15, 16. And then they claim and you go, cool, it's a trap. Restand, boom, boom. You're on like 24. Like, I'm winning. So, yeah, I think this is something we will need to consider. Like, this is a card to be aware of. Then we got Independent Smuggler. This is a 1-drop 1/1 with Raid 1 and piloting for 1 to give 1/1 and the attached unit gains Raid 1. I think as an upgrade, this is actually really nice. Like, if you slap this onto anything, like, that's really, really nice. Just +2/+1 on attack for 1 is pretty good. Yeah, I quite like it. Then I think we've already seen this card. We've already seen this card, but this card's a little crazy. I think we might be... Oh, yeah, Quasar TIE Carrier. This is a 6-drop 5/7 on attack to create a TIE fighter token. It is a capital ship, so Piet plays this for 5. If you ECL it in, it's like... No, but the TIE fighters are 1/1s. No, this is bad. It's bad. It is seeing no play. And then that's it. So that is it. We are caught up on the card reveals. What do you guys think of set 4 so far? I'm really excited. I think like a lot of the leaders have been like pretty mid, but like I'm definitely really excited for Piet. And I think there are some banger legendaries in red in particular. Like I'm already eyeing up. I can't wait for set 4. I hope you guys are excited too. So stick around for lots more Star Wars and Limited content. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Cheers.